Good evening, everyone. My name's Judy. Welcome to the OK Cycle and Adventure Tours Long Stays in Portugal webinar. We're going to start out with a brief overview of Portugal, and then we're going to move into some more specifics about long stays in sunny Portugal, while everybody else is here in cold Canada in the winter. I'm just going to go through a few intro slides first. There we go. If everyone could put their cameras on mute, that would be great. If you have any questions, you can type them into the chat. We may be able to answer them in person later. And if we don't get to them here, we can answer them by email afterwards. We're OK Cycle and Adventure Tours. We'll take you anywhere in the world you want to go. We'll take you there. We do bicycle tours. We do bike tours where your hotel room comes with you. We do trekking and hiking tours. We do adventure tours. And I'm going to do a really brief introduction of the team. This is Manny. Manny is the founder and CEO. Manny has cycled everywhere with everyone, and he knows everyone too. I'm Judy. I'm the office manager. I'm also a travel agent. I like to cycle, run, bike, and travel. And if I'm not doing those things, I'm planning my next adventure. This is Ross. Ross specializes in European trips. This is Howard. Howard sends you your bills. He's our accountant, and he actually is helped out by Colleen these days, but I don't have a picture of Colleen. I'll have to get one for the next show. So we're going to start with a recorded presentation from Inns, who's from Tourism Portugal, and she's going to give you a little bit more information about Portugal. I have to switch screens at this point, so if you can't hear, tell me, because
Everyone, my name is Inês Almeida Garrett, and I'm the director for Visit Portugal here in Canada. I'm based in Toronto and always available to help if you have any question. I'm here today to speak with you a little bit about Portugal, to show you that Portugal is an all year round destination and some of the things you can do while you visit us. So I've selected a small PowerPoint to share with you with some videos. I'm going to turn off my camera in order to make it easier. And we start. So welcome to Portugal. We are a very interesting destination also for families. I'll get there in a short while, but I would like to start by explaining that we like to call ourselves a country with concentrated diversity. We're not a very big country. North to south, it's 800 kilometers, meaning that from Lisbon to Porto, it's less than 3 hours driving. And by the way, Canadians can drive in Portugal with their driver license. Most of the country has highways connecting north to south, and we drive on the same side as here in Canada. But the best thing is the average temperature in the winter is 16 degrees. So it's really not that cold. And this is why we are considered a good European destination for the ones going to spend the winter abroad. The hours of sunshine, the average per day, it's also a good number, 7 hours in the winter and 12 in the summer. And actually Portugal has an amazing light and a very blue sky. The country has 7 tourism regions, and it's important to mention this because they are very different from one another, and we go back to the concentrated diversity. So you have 7, starting on the north, Porto, then center of Portugal, Lisbon region, which is also the capital, Alentejo, Algarve, and then we have 2 sets of islands, the Azores and Madeira. And we will go with more detail to each of these regions. It's impossible to give all the information in a short conversation like the one we're having, but I have selected a few regions just to give you an example some videos for you to see, because when the eye sees, it's so much easier for the heart to understand what we're talking about. But we start now in the north of Portugal. It's actually where the country was born. We are the oldest country in Europe with borders, and Porto is a World Heritage City. It's very known for the port wine that it's exported worldwide nowadays. It's a fortified wine that it's also very good as a digestive. But here in the north is where you find all the antique churches and the monuments and the Douro River. Of course, a magical place. We come down to south, and you can see on the map the green area, what we're talking about, to the center of Portugal. It's a lot of the territory is by the sea with small fishing villages, and this is the region where you can find Peniche with the perfect waves and Nazaré with the giant waves. A lot of UNESCO heritage, it's really on this area. It's where you can find historic villages, castles, cyst villages, and where modernity always blends with the tradition. The picture you're actually seeing on the screen, it's a very good example of the antique and little villages that you can find here, where you can really blend with the locals and have fun and experience the unique local products. It's also the region for Óbidos, which is a magic place inside the walls of a castle. And we go south to Lisbon. Well, Lisbon is the capital, of course, has beaches, natural parks, terraces, a lot of golf courses, surf spots, and cultural tours. Just to give you an example, it's this region that has Sintra and the Magic Castle, that has Cascais, and others that are very known for the beach. Let's watch a little bit of video about Lisbon for you to have an idea of what we're talking about. Well, if you go to Lisbon, for sure, I would recommend a trip on the tram to ride on the narrow streets of Lisbon, to get lost there, going to the castle, take a boat trip on River Tagus, just spend one night out listening to some fado music. I don't know, go to Cabo da Roca. There's lots of things you can do in all the regions in Portugal, and Lisbon, of course, it's not the exception. You continue south, and you find yourself in Alentejo. This is the place where everything happens slowly. We have a word for it, which is vagar, meaning that you have time to do everything. And the purpose here is just to relax, let yourself go, and enjoy, of course, the plane, the winds, the food, and the wine. Alentejo is also a very good wine producer. And there's lots of vineyards you can visit and lots of spas, thalassotherapy. Well, it's just a place for you to enjoy and really relax. And you continue heading down to Algarve. And one of the purpose of these conversations is also to discuss what can be long stays. And usually Algarve, it's one of the regions that it's more searched for this, since the weather is really good all year round. And so a lot of you ask me, what can I do in Algarve? It's mainly the beach. Yes, it's mainly the beach during the summer, but there's also a lot of activities that you can do in the winter, because even months like January and February, they are not cold. The climate is soft and sunny throughout the year, and the beach is really amazing quality, white sand. And you can really walk around on the beach for miles and miles and miles and just lose yourself and enjoy the ocean, the blue water, do some water sports. And if you don't want to spend a lot of time on the beach or inside the water, there's lots of other things you can do: walking, hiking, golf. Actually, Algarve is very famous for the golf courses. You can go for trips in Ria Formosa, well, see, watch birds. I don't know, there's so many things, but mainly a thing that you cannot miss is the seafood. Just sit in an esplanade, have some seafood, try the local dishes, and pour everything with some white wine, very fresh. Let's see. Beach, yeah. Well, the Algarve we were showing you on the video, for sure, it's Algarve in the winter. So as you can see, the weather is good, the sun is shining, and you don't need lots of coats to go around. So just go to the fish market, cook some fish at home, or just go to a restaurant and enjoy the local delicacies. We Portuguese share a lot the meals with the others. We really like to sit down and to have a conversation and to share the food and the wine. So just like act like us locals, and for sure you'll come back more relaxed. Okay, so if you want to take a flight to the Azores, you can visit this phenomenal archipelago. Azores has 9 islands. It's divided in 3 groups. Oh, the islands have a lot of things in common, but they are also very different, and this is why it's interesting to visit more than one island. It's the largest whale sanctuary in the world, and this says something about the extraordinary beauty of the Azores. Let's go watch.
It's cold and wet there. I wonder.
It looks like Hawaii, you know?
Well, we usually say that there are more cows in the Azores than people. And those cows really have an amazing life because they spend all day outside eating the grass, and you cannot imagine the meat that comes from those cows. So it's really a gastronomic experience also to go to Azores. And I would point out the cheese and another great experience, which is cozido das furnas, that it's cooked above the ground with the volcanic heat that it's coming from the earth. We go to the last set of islands, Madeira. Madeira and Porto Santo that are a refuge of natural beauty. I would like to point out that 2/3 of Madeira's surface is protected area and is where you can find the largest laurel forest in the world. And this is actually amazing because it allows you all year round with spring temperature to take a walk on foot and enjoy the levadas. The levadas are like the water pipes that run through the Madeira. And it's really an interesting walk with different levels of difficulty. So you can do this with the whole family, or there's also activities for the ones that are more brave and more used to these sports. You can climb to the hill in the toboggan and then come down on the baskets. Well, we've all seen pictures like that, and it's really an amazing experience. Okay, and this is some of the products that Portugal has to offer. I've mentioned all of them, I think, in the conversation that we were having. But I would just highlight religious tourism, which was actually the one that I have not mentioned. We have a very special place in Portugal called Fatima, is in the center of Portugal. It's where Our Lady appeared more than 100 years ago to three little shepherds. And it's a very special pilgrimage place in Portugal that I for sure would advise you to visit. We have 91 golf courses, so it's a year-round destination for golf. Most of them are in Algarve and are by the sea, which means that the view you have while playing is really incredible and relaxing. And well, let's talk again about the food and the wine. One of the good things that we have to offer for sure, it's our food and our wine. We have different kinds of wines. We've talked about the port wine, but we are heavy producers of all kinds of wines, vinho verde, red wine, white wine, and a lot of other spirit drinks, and famous for the pastel de nata, for the bacalhau, the caldo verde, the leitão à bairrada, and well, a lot of others. I would point out again seafood, because Portugal, it's by the coast, so there's always fresh fruit and seafood for you to try and to enjoy.
It's time to flow. time for a fresh start. Time to come together, avenge the time we've been apart. It's time to flow, to listen to the sun and the moon. Time to revere the breeze, to swirl, swerve and serve with ease. It's time to flow, time to fill in the lapse of time, to breathe, sublime. Time to rise back on our feet and kick the ground, our glory, our bound. It's time to flow, time to stay or go. 1,000 yeses for each no. It's time to raise our glasses, to yell for the masses. It's time to flow, time to peak life, for morning yearnings and golden sunset earnings. It's time to pop and pour indisputable desire, gallantry, will, and be truth. It's time to taste.
Well, it's time to travel, it's time to have fun, it's time to meet new people and interact with the locals, because one of the things that Portuguese do well is to welcome everyone with open arms and a smile, and it's a very easygoing country, so for sure you will have lots of fun. So thank you so much for your time, and I really hope that I was able to clear some of the questions you have about Portugal, and thanks for listening, and hope to meet you all soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Go to Portugal. I don't know about everyone else. We're going to move on, and we're going to invite our next speaker, which is William. He's going to tell you a little bit more about actual long stays.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. Well, hello, good evening. First of all, let me just say it was great to see my my ex-colleague Inês. We worked together for a number of years at Tourism Portugal, and I actually held the position she has now for 8 years. And when I left at the end of 2021, she came over from having run the German office, and she's a great person. So yeah, please do use her as a research tool if you're planning anything. And of course, Manny's already had a chance probably to meet her. So wonderful to see her, even if it was only on tape. So yeah, so I'm here. First of all, thank you to OK Cycle, to Manny and Judy for inviting me to come here and talk a little bit about Portugal, specifically long stays. It's something that we're looking to collaborate with, going forward. So again, thank you for the opportunity. And so basically, I work for a company. I took over a company called JM Vacations. It's a company that was founded in 1985, and is probably, I would say, one of the top companies in Canada that specializes in long stays, specifically for Portugal and Spain. So that's kind of our bread and butter. That's what we focus a lot of our strength on. Obviously, as a full tour operator, we do offer other products, but I think that's our strength, and that's what I've been trying to focus on and grow even more. So let's start, I guess, for the definition of long stays, snowbirds. There's all these terms that apply. Obviously, a lot of you are familiar with with the concept going down to the States, to Florida, to Arizona, some to Mexico, etc. So again, we have a very niche kind of market with we specialize in Portugal and Spain. Within Portugal, the Algarve is by far our largest destination, but we also work with Azores, Madeira, Lisbon coast, and then we also go into Spain, mostly Costa del Sol, and the Canaries and the Balearic Islands. So I'll start really quickly, just kind of saying, first, let's define what we say long stays, because I said it's a term that you might be listening, a lot of times, even in different mediums. So a long stay, the way we kind of define it internally, is a trip from 14 days and up in a specific destination. And then it's not even just about the day. So, but, we average, our average stay is about 28 days, but we do everything, I say, from 14 days to 3 to 4 months. The other important part of the long stay is that it's not your typical kind of fly hotel experience, that kind of thing. It's the vast majority of our clients want to be situated in one or two locations. Again, long stay in the term of they want to embed a little bit, they want to learn more about the culture. All the properties that we offer, and again, the majority of our properties are 4 stars. We have a number of 5 stars as well, and some, and for budget conscious, we also do have a few 3s, but we normally suggest go with the 4-star because you get great service in Portugal, particularly in the winter months. And the other important thing is that you're looking at properties that have, a kitchen, a full kitchen or a kitchenette, with fridges, all that kind of thing, cooking facilities. It's more of an apartment type. All the properties we offer, it's not a standard hotel room. You're looking at having a bit of a suite, an area to host, even some guests, and a bit of a separation between, the living quarters and the bedroom. So it does give you a bit of an idea that you've kind of, this is your temporary home, but it does feel more than just, a typical hotel room. A lot of our clients kind of do a balance. They love to cook themselves, particularly, the breakfasts and light lunches. All the properties that we offer also have, food service as well and restaurant service, but we find that the majority of our clients kind of like to balance it out. They do 60 to 70% of the cooking themselves, and then every couple of days they like to go down for dinner at the hotel or in the villas, restaurant facilities. So that kind of defines what we're looking there in terms of what we call long stays. Again, things are evolving in terms of dates, but for the most part, and traditionally, of course, we're looking at snowbirding, winter getaways. So the strength is probably mid-January until mid-April, late April. Although we are noticing a trend now, particularly coming out of the COVID years. It's becoming more of an all year round thing. I think people are looking to get away more and more. So it's not necessarily to just get away during during the cold, snowy day, winter months, but we also find people are now being more adventurous and wanting to do a bit more activities than maybe your traditional snowbirds from 15, 20 years ago. So a lot of people are choosing. We've been very busy in fall, and some stuff is even extending a little bit, closer to late spring and even early summer. So in terms of locations, as I said, we do a lot of work with properties in the Algarve. So we east to west, for those of you who might be familiar with the Algarve. So we work with properties right from the Spanish border on the eastern side, like Tavira and Monchique and what have you, which are the areas that are not as rocky, and the large expanse of white sand and just more quiet, more traditional, kind of setup in villages, and everything into the Golden Triangle, as we call it, which is Faro, Albufeira, Villamora, that kind of region, and then actually going all the way to the west, the more rugged part of the Algarve, kind of in between Lagos, Alvor, and terminating with Sagres, as which is right on the western tip. So once again, so that's kind of the area that we focus on. But again, within Portugal, we also do some work in the Azores. We're finding there's a lot of interest with the Azores, as Inês mentioned on the presentation. Again, not to keep referring to COVID, but after that, there's a lot of interest in less busy areas, so to speak, less crowded places that are more sustainable, that focus on wellness. So again, Azores ticks all those boxes, and it's a very, very traditional, kind of stay. So a lot of people really enjoy that. And when we do Azores, 90% of the time, people will jump between different islands. So if they stay, 28 days or what have you, they might stay, 7 days in 3 different islands. The Azores, as she said, with the nine different islands. So it's a beautiful, interesting experience. Again, within the long stays, if you're looking for a bit more upscale, Madeira, as was mentioned, beautiful, beautiful location. I like to call it a floating garden. Funchal, the surrounding area, Port Sant, with the wine, with the flowers, with the temperate, weather. Madeira famous, really never gets hotter than 25 or 26, but never gets colder than 16 or 15. So if you like consistent, comfortable, beautiful locations to stay. Here, of course, the properties will be a little bit more upscale than you might. Well, you can get upscale on the mainland. I'm just saying that in Madeira, there's less choice at the lower end of the budget scale. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, we're finding people that are kind of really enjoying it, and some actually end up telling us that the next year they don't want to book with us because they decided to purchase a place there. So which does happen. We then the last place that we do long stays in Portugal is along the Lisbon coast. Some people prefer to be near a city. Some actually like to stay long stays in Lisbon proper. We have a number of key suppliers there that have apartment style accommodations. Again, that lets you actually basically live like a Lisboeta. Some people like to be on our coast, on our what we call our Estoril Lisbon coast, kind of a little bit of our Portuguese Riviera. So you have Estoril, famous for the casino, beautiful beaches, wonderful hotels. There we work with some smaller suppliers that have again properties that offer all the amenities of make it look like a home, and then the famous fishing village of Cascais. So that's another wonderful place to spend a couple of weeks away from from the cold of Canada. And for those people that have a bit more of an urban bent, you're only about a half an hour train ride into Lisbon. So every once in a while, if you want to get away from the idyllic beachside, but you want to get some noise in the city, you're about 30 minutes direct shot right into Lisbon. Manny, I'll talk a little bit about Spain if you don't mind. I know today was about Portugal, but we also do work with Spain, mostly in Costa del Sol. We do a lot of work around Malaga, Fuengirola, and we even do some things going into Seville and even some side trips and stuff into Gibraltar. So Tenerife as well. We do the Canaries, we do the Balearics, and sometimes we're finding it's very popular. We have people that like to combine Portugal and Spain. So once again, that's something that we can do. I guess the last thing I will say, and then I'll let if there's some questions. What we do at JM, and I know it's more work for my staff, but most of what we do is customizable. What I mean by that is even if you see a quote ad from JM or in the near future from OK Cycle, what we end up doing is a lot of what we put out there is kind of inspiration, but most of the stuff that we do ends up being very close discussion and relationship between our reservation people and the client. So it's not just pick option A, B, or C off the rack. So we find that that's pretty important for us, and I think that fits in with OK's mentality as well, where they work with the clients and kind of pick a package that works. So that in that sense that separates us quite a bit from a lot of our competitors, to use that term, where they work very hard early on, as I say, put together 4 or 5 different packages and you pick one. Whereas with us, sometimes it takes week and a half to back and forth between our office and the clients before we kind of finalize their package. And then on that note, we do obviously flights as well. We handle transfers. We do bookings for trains, particularly if you're going within 2 different countries. We do internal flights. And we do of course all the fun tours as well. So, but basically it's one-stop shopping and full service. We have people on the ground in Portugal in contact. So if there are any on-site issues to be dealt with, it's not necessarily us trying to deal with it, from far away. We have actual staff members there as well. So and that's it. Yeah. So hopefully, as I say, Inês baked the big picture about Portugal in general. You guys are obviously quite familiar with OK and the great work they do. And again, thank you for the opportunity. This is something I'd love to kind of expand and collaborate with Manny and Judy in the near future. So thank you. If there's any questions?
Hi, sorry. We have one question in the chat. It says, which area in Portugal is the best to cycle and do you do long-term cycle rentals?
The answer to that is, I'll start with the second one. Yes, we do have suppliers that do long-term, cycle rentals. But I think for that, Manny is already familiar with that, probably even more than I would be in terms of the cycling. I myself, I'm a big fan. First of all, the Algarve is great because it's an east-west kind of tour, if you want to say. Again, as Inês had mentioned, very famous for the beaches and that kind of lifestyle. But if you go a little bit north of the beaches, you have wonderful mountainous terrain, and it has been completely set up for for hiking and for cycling. So that's a wonderful one. Another area that I quite love and was mentioned again in the presentation is the Alentejo. So going up, kind of Alentejo is that region, as you said, as you saw, between Lisbon and the Algarve, and right along the coast. It's one of the most rugged, beautiful areas. Not as developed, so to speak, not as busy, still kind of rustic, with some challenging, cycling and hiking opportunities. I remember a number of years ago, Manny and I did one of these presentations, and we actually had somebody talking from the Alentejo tourist board and what they've done. So they've done a great job. So it's called the Costa Vicentina. So Costa meaning coast, and Vicentine coast. And if anybody has a chance to look that up, it's a beautiful area, not just for the cycling and the hiking, but for the food as well, and for for the, let's just say, less busy beaches, less spoiled beaches. So those would be my two favorite areas for cycling.
Awesome, thank you. Now we're gonna and if anyone has more questions, you can pass them along to us and we'll get them answered for you. Now we're going to get Manny. He's going to talk about one particular option, which involves staying in a hotel, and then we'll answer any other questions. Off to you, Manny.
Oh, you're on mute, Manny.
Hello?
Hi, Manny.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Good. I just want to thank William very, very much for his presentation. And Anish, of course, does a fantastic job. She's really, really been very helpful to me, and we appreciate all the assistance we have. And Portugal is just such a wonderful place to go. I'm going there next month again. I just want to mention one thing about the bike rentals, which was mentioned. Yes, we have even carbon fiber bikes for rent as well, long term. So we have all sorts of bikes. We have even tricycles for rent, tandems. There's all sorts of different ones. So we have those available long term. Not an issue. It's the supplier we have actually is one of the people that we work with to do bike tours in the Algarve. So it really is how should I put it? I mean, they're there and they're there for backup, and there's e-bikes, of course, which sometimes people require. So it's all there. You can see how complete Portugal is. And I've been to the Azores, and it's just an incredible group of islands. I've been to Madeira, which is very incredibly different than the rest. And the weather, as was mentioned in Madeira, is just fantastic. And although you didn't see much of the basket ride going down the hill, there was just one quick shot there, which was a fun adventure to say the least. I won't bore you with more than that. So what we have, as Judy suggested, we have a hotel room aspect here. It's a very nice little hotel. It's in the Argyle, and it's close to everything. You can see that it's called the Hotel Regency. It's a spa as well. Nice swimming pool, both a little swimming pool for kids as well as a larger pool. It's just a very quiet area, easy to get around. It's just how should I put it? It's a perfect place to go and spend some time for holidays. And as William mentioned, minimum 14 days. We have it available all the way into Judy's just showing you one of the rooms they have. There's rooms that look over the gardens. There's rooms that look over the swimming pool. So what we offer is our rooms come with our hotel stay. It comes with breakfast, which there's the breakfast room. And also the rooms do have their own fridge, and it has a kettle, so you can get your meals. It's very easy. If you wanted to book the dinners, you can book them at a fixed cost for the whole time you're there, or you can just do them when you want, or you can go to the. It's very close to sort of head into the shopping center. It's a shuttle that comes by every 20 minutes that goes to the shopping center. So it's a very convenient place to do. There's tennis clubs. The beach is only a 10-minute walk away. You can go horse riding. You can go, as you noticed from Anders mentioned, 91 golf courses. There's about 13 of them very close to where this hotel is. It's a nice hotel, opened in 2021, so it's a relatively new hotel, and it's a really complete aspect with free Wi-Fi. So it's got a lot of special parts to it, and you see we've got a price in Canadian dollars. Obviously, Americans, we charge them in US dollars equivalent. It works out to $210 per day for a couple, double occupancy, and that's with the breakfast. So that applies for 14 days or more, and they have to be booked by October 30th. And they're pickleball, I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm sure, like the world is full of pickleball, I'm sure it's there. But I'm sure I can Google it and find out. Thank you for that question, by the way. Sorry it is a very fast moving sport. So as I mentioned, the stays are there. We have until October 30th to do bookings. So if does anyone have any questions about the hotel itself or about what we do, and we work with JM, as you mentioned. So if there's any questions you have about anything that they might have to offer, we'll get offers for you. It's very easy. They have, as you gather, an incredible amount of places where they can put you. So thank you very much to the rooms in this hotel. Thank you for that question. Do not have kitchens, but certainly as was mentioned, all the hotels that JM has, Williams has kitchens. So they're available, and they specialize especially in that. We thought we'd be a little different than just do a standard hotel, and just see if there's some interest in that and give people an idea of prices. We can also do the shuttles, and we can also do the flights as well. So that's it. And the closest town, it's right the very few minutes walk from the We'll have a map shortly if someone is interested in where the hotel is located, specifically in reference to the shopping center, which is not that far away. So were there any other questions? I'm trying to respond to the questions as they're coming by. Did I miss some things, Judy?
The only question I see is where's the closest town? I don't see anything after that. So I think you've answered them all.
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted the presentation. I just wanted everyone to know where to fly to. Okay, that's a good question. Faro is the closest airport. It's roughly about 20 minutes by car from the the Algarve specifically. A number of airlines fly in. If you're going out of Canada, it would be Air Transit. It's about $850 return to fly from Toronto to Faro Airport. The next closest one is Lisbon, which is another couple hours further north, and we can certainly arrange for a shuttle from there, or you can take the train down. Do you need a car? I don't think you need a car, but if you need one, we'll certainly be happy to rent you one. But it is easy. Yes, we run bike tours. We have numerous bike tours on our website. In the Algarve, the most popular one is the one that's in that region. It's a coast-to-coast one. It's 8 days and 7 nights with the luggage being moved, and we even have it guided in the winter months. November 14th, it's coming up as the next guided one. There's people already signed up for that. And then they have one in January, one in February, and I believe one in March as well. It's guided, but it goes every day because the weather's so great, and there's all sorts of bike options. But they supply a standard one, and you can get the upgrade for 126 euros per person for an e-bike. I missed one question there. They asked where the hotel is. It's in the Algarve. And it's, as I say, it's only about, I think,
If I can,
closer to the Faro Airport.
Manny, if I could just jump in, just one quick thing for your clients.
Thanks, William.
For those of you who want a little bit something different, I forgot to mention this when I was talking, is talk to Manny. Maybe if you want the convenience, yes, fly right into Faro, but again, we find that a lot of people like going into Lisbon and kind of doing the the shoulder kind of thing. So fly into Lisbon, stay not in a long stay type hotel or anything like that, but enjoy 2 or 3 days in Lisbon. A shuttle service or even a regular bus service if you didn't rent a car. It's about 2.5 hours down to the center of the Algarve. So you get a couple of days in the city, and then then do your long stay, and maybe on the way back do something else again. So just to kind of balance it out. So just think about that.
Thanks, William. That's exactly right. It's just so many options, and it's almost whatever anyone wants to do, we can certainly put it together. There's a question about Tavera.
Yes, you've also got one question saying, where's the best place to stay if you do the 8-day cycle tour? I can sort of answer that. If you do the 8-day cycle tour, the tour takes you from town to town. So they would get you to the starting point, and then they'll move you from town to town to the end point. So it's a point to point tour. And then the next question is, do you have places in Tavera?
Tavera. Yeah. So again, we do. We have a number of places there. Again, different price points, different locations within the area of Tavera, and that's the one I was saying that's closer to Spain. So again, whoever is interested more in that part of the Algarve, send Manny a note, and then I'll let him kind of put him in touch with the people that we work with as well. But yes, definitely, just talk to Manny about any specific towns that you might have, and we'll work together. to put that.
Any other
Ross-
questions?
Ross just put up yeah, the link to the cycle tour that goes from coast to coast along there. We also
that-
have that. We also have, the nice thing about we even have a cycle tour that starts in Lisbon and goes down into the Algarve. It's 14 days, 13 nights, staying in different hotels along the way, with your luggage being moved and the bike rental included. So there's lots of things. It's also, Ross is putting up something about, there's a one hotel type tour as well, where you cycle in different directions from that hotel. So we have those available too. There's lots and lots of options, and we're only too happy to respond to any questions anyone has and to work something out with the timing. The nice thing, as I mentioned, is it's year round, and that's not something that's easy to find. And the other thing I'll mention too is there's lots of good flights to Portugal. They're not very how should you put it? They're about 7 hours, I guess, to get there, and which is a not unreasonable time. And it's as William was mentioning, and I found that out too, that they're all very, very friendly people. And Ross, who goes to Portugal, he went last year. He's going again this year, and for about 3 or 4 weeks. He finds it really a wonderful place to bring the family.
Yeah, I went to Portugal last year. I have 2 young boys, and I'm married with my wife, and it was just so hospitable. We spent the majority of the time in the Algarve, which just has so much to offer. And if you like to spend time outdoors, we would wake up in the morning. We were there in roughly the beginning of March, and it was about 16 degrees, and they would warm up all the way to 21, 22, sometimes 24, 25. You'd get some warm days, and it's just so affordable. And I find that everyone is so welcoming. Oh, do the kids eat fish? And it was just such a lovely place to be. And with the connections that Manny has made in the country, as well as William and his expertise, there's just so much opportunity out there to find the right fit for you.
Thanks, Ross.
Ross, you should get a job at the tourist board. You're very good.
Thank you so much.
Portugal.
Well, he works with us, William. He's one of our people.
Oh, I apologize, Ross. Well, no, I'm not apologizing. You were very good. You're very
Thank
good.
you so much.
No, because you said you were there with your family and stuff. So sorry, I had you down. I forgot the pictures at the beginning, but excellent. But no, it's great words. But it's true. It's a comfortable place. It's low key. Not you don't get stressed out. You don't get trolled, as they say in other locations. So excellent.
Yeah, everyone speaks English. It's easy to drive. Oh, and so affordable. It's the best bang for your buck. Really is. Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, I'm looking.
Sorry, if there's
Right.
nothing else, I'll pass it back along to Manny. I would just point out, I have never been to Portugal, so obviously I need to go.
We'll see what we can do, Judy. This is Judy's next month going to South Korea to cycle.
I'll be bringing back lots of stories about that.
We'll probably have a webinar on South Korea cycling.
If there's no more questions, thank you to everyone for attending. And if you have more questions, drop us a line. Thanks to William, and thanks to Manny, and thanks for Ross for his input too. Unless Manny has anything else, have a nice evening.
Thanks,
Any
everybody.
final thoughts?
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.